Since the dawn of Marxism, bourgeois political economy tried to portray it as some closed and harmful sect. In doing so, the majority of so-called experts cannot even formulate what Marxism is and what its main provisions are. Let us investigate the matter. Marxism is a coherent scientific worldview based in the 19th century on the most progressive ideas of humanity. It combined the German classical philosophy, English political economy, and French utopian socialism. Marx and Engels' views were greatly influenced by Hegel's dialectics, the science about the most common laws of nature, society, and intellectual development. But his dialectics were based on an idealistic foundation, the ideal as the origin of the world from an abstract, non-material basis. Marx and Engels rejected these views and set philosophy invented by Hegel on a materialistic foundation, thus creating a new, consistent philosophical trend, dialectical materialism. In contrast to the views of the idealists that human thinking is primary and it determines the surrounding reality, Marxism proves that it is not the consciousness of people that determines their being, but, on the contrary, the social being determines their consciousness. Marx was the first to discover that it is the material basis, the economic relations between people, that determines the superstructure, that is, all other human relations, politics, culture, ideology, and so on. The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it. Marx did not just describe the history of mankind, he was the first to reveal the driving forces of historical development. He gave a scientific answer to the question, why did society develop in this way and not any other way? Since the economic system is the basis of society, out of which its political superstructure rises, Marx began to spend a lot of time studying this basis. His main work, Capital, is devoted to the study of the modern capitalist system. First of all, he substantiated and consistently developed the labor theory of value, originally discovered by English economist Adam Smith and David Ricardo. Marx showed that the cost of any product is determined by the amount of socially necessary labor time for its production. Where bourgeois economists saw the relationship of things, Marx revealed relations between people. From the very beginning of commodity economy, Marx traced the development of capitalism to its highest form, to large-scale industrial production. A hired worker sells his labor power to enterprise owners. He spends one part of his workday to cover the cost of supporting himself and his family. The rest of the time, he works, creating surplus value, the source of wealth for the capitalist class. The doctrine of surplus value is the cornerstone of Marx's economic theory. Having studied the essence of the economic basis of society, Marx did not stop at a simple description of the current situation. He was able to predict the further course of social development, to describe the socio-economic formation that will replace capitalism. Communism, whose first phase is socialism. Socialism as an idea arose in response to capitalist slavery. Many thinkers before Marx and Engels envisioned various forms of future society, but their socialism was utopian, was a simple fantasy of a happy future, not being based on a scientific understanding of the processes of social development. Marx substantiated why capitalism will be replaced with socialism, how this transition will take place, and on what foundations the new society will be based. Analyzing the history of mankind, Marx determined that the driving force of social development is class struggle. Without the victory of the bourgeoisie over the landed aristocracy, the transition from feudalism to capitalism would be impossible. Similarly, without the victory of the working class over the capitalists, transition from capitalism to socialism is impossible. This is the main point of Karl Marx's teachings on the class struggle. Marx was not the first to open the division of society into classes. He showed the class struggle as a prime mover of events, revealed the insoluble contradictions of the feudal, slave, and capitalist formations, and proved that this struggle would end in establishing a classless society, the path to which lies to the dictatorship of the proletariat. Later, one of the best pupils of Marx and Engels, Vladimir Lenin, developed Marxism further, applying it to the new conditions of capitalism, developing a new theory and tactics of the class struggle of the proletariat. Armed with Marxist-Leninist theory, The working class poses the main threat to the capitalist, since it seeks to completely destroy private ownership of the means of production, the basis of the bourgeois existence. This is why capitalist propaganda hypocritically inflates every mistake made on the road to building socialism to incredible proportions and declares it to be an objective shortcoming of communist ideas, at the same time downplaying how much harm capitalism has caused humanity and its contradictions. Right now, billions of people are suffering the consequences of the capitalist system. They are exploited and oppressed, suffer from hunger, poverty, and poor ecology, are the victims of countless military conflicts, do not have access to quality medicine and education, and do not have their own housing and access to clean water. Bourgeois propagandists say that Marxism is outdated, but right now, outside the window is the same capitalism, albeit in a slightly modified form, with all its inherent properties and contradictions. Therefore, Marx and his ideas remain relevant. The Marxist method of cognition and the Marxist method of transforming society remain relevant.